Hello, happy Crimson Wednesday. You know, I think I'm getting the hang of streaming on Steam just in time to launch my game and then never have to do this. Well, at least not never, but I won't have to do this again for a while. Then I'll completely forget again. Now, Smith, thank you for verifying that it's all on and it's working. Um, you never know. You never know. That worked suspiciously easily. I only needed to regenerate my broadcast token once and copy and paste it, and it was fine. So we're good. We're good. Happy Crimson Wednesday. I usually stream on Twitch, but of course, because of the PixElated festival, I wanted to do a stream. I wanted to do a stream on the Steam page and support this awesome event. I love these Steam events, and particularly PixElated. Pixels, of course, have a special place in my heart, and we're going to get all into that. But yeah, I'm the developer of the Crimson Diamond. I'm Julia Minamata, and I made the game kind of by myself, but not really. I say solo developer because it's kind of the easy way to explain like what I do in it. But of course, like you can't do this kind of thing alone. I have a wonderful musician, Dan Pollicar, who has 40 plus minutes of original music on this game. And of course, I have amazing testers who have been helping me get this game into fighting ship shape, a battleship shape even, for the launch, which is happening in 2 weeks which is kind of amazing. So yeah, definitely not alone. I also have Patreon patrons who've been supporting me for years and years and years, and I'm super grateful for that too. So in a way, it's kind of solo dev, but many asterisks after that. And one of the things I do, what I have been doing for the past 4 years, I've been working on this game for much longer, but 4 years ago I started streaming on Twitch, and I stream on Tuesday. So we did a stream yesterday, and I do Crimson Tuesday on those, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to continue streaming after the launch of my game, which, again, August 15th, which is coming up. I'm excited. I'm excited and scared. But it'll be good. I'm so excited to share this game with you all. Yeah. That's another thing. Yesterday when I was on stream, because the game is now done, I don't really have any game development to do. The game is now done, so I don't have a lot to share in terms of like process anymore. But yesterday I got to talk about the Adventure Game Hotspot Fanfare, which I was at last weekend. And there was an incredible event in Tacoma, Washington that brought together a ton of Sierra alumni and some indies adventure game developers, and I had a fantastic time. I got to meet Ken and Roberta Williams. I got to meet Ken Allen, who did the music for the Colonel's Bequest. I got to reunite with Doug Herring, who did the art for Colonel's Bequest. It was a really wonderful time. It was their first time doing the event, so there were a few bumps along the way, but it was really nice to have finally, at long last, an adventure game focused event in North America. So I'm very happy with that. But yeah, why don't we get into it? I mentioned in my tweets and all that I'm going to be playing through the Crimson Diamond demo. If anyone has any questions about the development of the game, please let me know, and I'll try to answer as best I can. And after that, I will be following up with like a quick slideshow of some pixel art stuff that I've done, like crafts, and also like a talk that I gave for IGDA Twin Cities a while back, and I can tell you how to find that on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I have a deep affection for pixels, and I always have, and I want to share that with you and show you what it is meant to me, and in all the ways I've kind of expressed how much I love pixels. I was delighted to be included in PixElated Festival, hosted of course by Brave at Night. So thank you so much. Why don't we get into it real quick? Let's get right into the game, and let's see how I organize this. Let's turn off this music, and we're going to get to hear some of Dan's lovely music. Put myself over here in the sidebar. Let's turn on the game. Let's see here. Crimson Diamond demo. Here we go. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna treat you guys to actually I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna treat you guys to the introductory sequence. This game is an adventure game. I am very careful about not spoiling any plot details about the game that aren't in Chapter 1, which is the demo that's available right now on my Steam store page. I didn't work on anything on stream that was not stuff that you'd see in the demo. So don't worry about that. If you come to my streams, no spoilers. But we're going to restart. We're going to watch the introductory sequence. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to turn the music up a bit. Let me know if the music is too loud. I'm going to give a few seconds just for a volume check because I won't be able to change the volume after we get started. Anyone find this too loud, too soft? I'll give it like half a minute before we get started, if anyone wants to weigh in on volume. We're going to, we'll play through the whole demo, I suppose. I'm not going to show everything in the demo because another thing about having it be a very linear narrative game, I wanted to try to make there be some things you can miss, but missable things are not things that are going to soft lock you. Okay, perfect. Sound level's good? Okay. I'm actually going to turn it down for me. I don't think it's going to turn that down for you. Okay, let's get started. And this music you're hearing, by the way, this was composed by Dan Polakar on a genuine Roland MT32. This game is very much a love letter to old school adventure games, EGA, 320 by 200 pixel, text parser adventure games. It's going to sound like those games, it's going to look like those games, but it's going to hopefully play a little smoother than those games did back in those days. I tried to take a lot of lessons from like the 30 years since the Colonel's Bequest came out. Okay, here we go. Crimson, Ontario, 1914. There you are, Nancy. This is it, what we've been waiting for. Far up north, a fisherman found a massive diamond in the belly of a fish. I guess this is a good time to say that there is no voice acting in this game. You're going to have to provide your own voices. This could be a real boon for our mineralogy exhibit. We need something better than those dilettantes over in geology. This character is named Professor Plummer, and that is a tribute to the late great Canadian actor, national treasure, Christopher Plummer. And I actually modeled this character after Christopher Plummer, his resemblance, and also a bit of a tip of the hat to Professor Plum from the Clue game. I want our exhibit to be the talk of the town. It's too bad we can't spare anyone to head up to the middle of nowhere on such a long shot. You could spare me. Let me go, Professor Plummer. It would be perfect. Everyone else is busy with the new exhibits. Well, I've been learning the filing system. That could wait a day or two, couldn't it? Another thing, so if you're interested in watching me kind of play through not only this demo, but the whole rest of the game when it comes out, this week we're going to be starting a Let's Play. I'm going to be starting a Let's Play with the Level 0 NPCs, which is a YouTube channel that I've been collaborating with them for about a year, I guess, maybe more. We've been playing Sierra games on their channel. We just finished Dagger of Amon-Ra a few weeks ago, and before that we played the Colonel's Bequest, and we're going to move from that right into the Crimson Diamond. And we're going to start we're actually recording tomorrow. And on that recording, we're going to be starting Chapter 1 of the demo. And by the time the game actually releases, the whole game will be out. And I don't think we'll finish the first chapter by that time. And I'll try to slow them down a lot so we don't have any issues with spare time. I'm not usually in the habit of sending unsupervised young ladies into less civilized regions. But as luck would have it, the discovery was made near a lodge where I'm sure you could stay a while and conduct your field work. This game is set in 1914, and this is something that women did come up against when they wanted to do research like this. Mary Elizabeth Wilson, I believe her name was one of the first female geologists that did get a formal education in geology, and she had a lot of resistance, including not being allowed by the Geographic Survey of Canada to go up and do field work up in remote regions with the men. So this does have historical basis to it. She had to do all of her research in and around Ottawa Valley area, which is where she lived. And she published some really good papers about the geology in her home area. You win, Nancy. Get on home, pack your bags, and catch the train up north. Hooray! Thanks so much, Professor. This actually, why don't I just give this a pause? Return to Spielberg, Happy Crimson Couture. Oh man, see, it's just it's muscle memory. I've been, like I said, I've been streaming for 4 years. Whenever I see someone in chat, I say Happy Crimson Tuesday. It's not Crimson Tuesday. It's bonus Wednesday. It's bonus Crimson Wednesday today. Yeah, so Return to Spielberg. It's nice to see you. This room, I have a lot of it. Of course, I have a lot of affection for old adventure games, and people always want to know, did you put any Easter eggs in your adventure game? I did. I put them all. I kind of put them all in this room. And you can see a lot of fun things on this shelf here. That top shelf has got a lot of LucasArts bits that you might find familiar. We've got Minnie Calavera's head, the Meteor from Maniac Mansion, Murray the Skull from Curse of Monkey Island, Green Tentacle from Day of the Tentacle, and the Grail Diary from The Last Crusade EGA version, of course. Another thing I do on my Twitch channel is I've been playing old EGA adventure games, and especially ones I'd never played back in the day. And I played through all of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade EGA version. That game is hard, but it's beautiful. And there's something really, really amazing about hearing that gorgeous score just played through, synthesized and everything for game. Okay. Second from the top shelf, we have the Dagger of Amon-Ra on the far left, and then beside that we have a crystal decanter from Colonel's Bequest. Beside that, it's kind of hard to see, but it's the Maltese Falcon from Quest for Glory 2 and another game, but I can't, maybe Quest for Glory 3. And then, of course, beside that on the right is Sir Graham's Peaked Cap, and it's in the color scheme of, I guess, King's Quest 5. The middle bottom shelf there, the one with the crystal on the left, that's a crystal from Conquest of Camelot. In Merlin's tower, laboratory, whatever it is, he's got a crystal formation. Beside that, we have one of the false grails from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Beside that is a dish thing that is just nothing. Beside that is a Schattenjäger amulet from Gabriel Knight. But last shelf here is Holy Water. This Holy Water is from a game I played on stream called Personal Nightmare by Horrorsoft, and it was very, very difficult. And Holy Water is a key item. This cat is a tribute to King's Quest III's Menenen's cat, Black Cat. And beside Menenen's cat is a jewelry box from Mortville Manor, which is another EGA adventure game I played on stream. That was very difficult, but really cool, actually. It has like vertical dithering in it. I definitely recommend that you check it out. The DOS version is EGA with this vertical dithering because it's higher resolution than 320 by 200. Anyway, moving on. Mop and Bucket, Space Quest, of course. In the corner, there's an angel that I also took inspiration from Personal Nightmare. Along this back metal shelf, we have nothing much on that first shelf, but on the far right here, on that top right corner here, I have the Chizo Mythos Idol. And this Chizo Mythos is by Yahtzee Croshaw, who used the same adventure game studio engine that I'm using to make my game. And he was a huge inspiration for me to start making my own game. And I enjoyed those games very much, and that's why we have the Chizo Mythos Idol there. Underneath the Chizo Mythos Idol is the Rise of the Dragon. You'll be seeing more of him later when I show you some crafts, because I think Rise of the Dragon, it's not probably ideally enjoyed in EGA, but I still think it's a gorgeous EGA game, and I actually I made a little craft to pay tribute to him. Beside the Rise of the Dragon, we have the Idol of Many Hands from The Secret of Monkey Island, which might be my favorite EGA adventure game. I know it's not Colonel's Bequest, but I actually think the whole package of Secret of Monkey Island, the game design and the humor and the puzzles and the music and the graphics, I think it's the complete package for me. Beside the Idol of Many Hands, we have the Ark of the Covenant inside its crate, which is like an anachronism because this is 1914, but I couldn't resist. Being a museum basement, it's kind of hard to resist. The bottom part of this metal shelf, the far left, there is a kind of Rosetta Stone-like a bit of hieroglyphics. It's kind of, actually it's not even the Rosetta Stone, it's like sandstone hieroglyphics. And on there, unfortunately Professor Plum is blocking it right now, but it's got like a Wajidai hieroglyphic on there as a tribute to Dave Gilbert, of course, who also is an Adventure Game Studio game developer. And really awesome to see Adventure Game Studio games doing well. Beside that is a woven basket that's from the Voodoo Ladies area in Secret of Monkey Island. Beside that is a globe, similar to the globe you'll see in the study of the Colonel's Bequest. And this tapestry on the corner here on the right side of the screen is from Conquest of Camelot. Okay, moving on. Okay. If you find something that can make a big splash at the museum, who knows? Maybe the university will finally accept you as a mineralogy student. Good luck, kiddo. I won't let you down. A few hours later. This interior is based on... So this interior is actually Union Station in Toronto, Canada. And that's where I am from, and this is where the game starts. And I actually looked at some historic photographs of the interior of Union Station around 1908 or so. And that's where I got what this looks like now. As well as the exterior, which you're going to see really soon. Here's my train. Yes, Easter eggs galore. Lots of Easter eggs. They're all, yeah, I kind of squished them all in one place pretty much. So yeah, this is a historical photograph from that era of the exterior of Union Station, which is still around. It's still used as the major transit hub in Toronto. Reload the chat here. Okay. Kind of. Okay. Right. Okay. This is it. My first time out of the city. I'm going to make the most of this trip. I can't wait to see the rocks of Northern Ontario. Goodbye, big city. Hello, adventure. A few hours later. Zzz. Excuse me, is this seat taken? Not at all, please have a seat. Thanks. My name is Kimi Kishiro. Where are you headed? Pleased to meet you. I'm Nancy Maple. I'm bound for a town called Crimson. Oh my, you've got some hours yet. I should know, because that's where I'm going. I'm a clerk from the Royal Canadian Museum. My boss sent me to check out the diamond claim up there. I haven't heard of that discovery. Then again, I don't pay much attention to the news. It's a very strange story. Up by Crimson, a fish swallowed a huge diamond. A fisherman caught it, sliced it open, and there it was, this spectacular sparkling gem. Can you imagine? I jumped at the chance to investigate. This is my first time out of the city. I couldn't be more excited. Where will we be staying when we get to Crimson? A place called Crimson Lodge. Ah, I'm staying at Crimson Lodge. I'm a birder. I hear there are nesting colonies of cormorants up there. That's what I want to see. And I wouldn't mind seeing the Soo Locks while I'm in the area. I'd love to see the big ships up close. Wonderful, we can be traveling companions. I'd very much like that. You and Kimi chat amiably for a while. As the day wears on, the rhythm of the train moving over the tracks and the monotony of the scenery lulls you into deep sleep. The Crimson Ontario is Northern Ontario, and set in an geographic area called the James Bay Lowlands? Or James Bay Highlands. James Bay Lowlands, I believe. And an interesting point of fact is not in this era, but actually in the early 2000s, diamond mines were opened in Northern Ontario and also in other areas of Northern Canada, which means that this could happen. I mean, this is way too early for that to happen, but it's to say that the diamonds are still in the ground at that time. So this is a definite possibility, geologically speaking. The conductor announces, Crimson, this stop. Nancy, it's time to go. Ah, thanks. Oh no, where's my luggage? This is not, really technically an Easter egg, because this is very similar to what happens to Laura Bow at the start of Dagger of Amon-Ra. She loses her luggage or has it stolen or something, and it's just an easy way to get rid of, a character's stuff, and requires you to be resourceful and to improvise your tools and things like that. So it's not here. There's no luggage left at all. My field kit's in there. What am I going to do? The train will be leaving soon. Nancy, we have to leave now. Ah! Oh, I had no idea anyone else was still on the train. Hello there. Hello. I didn't notice you in the train. Isn't that funny? Not really. I was in the first class car. I'm here to see the nesting cormorants. Is that why you're here? Cormorant, is that a type of rodent? Excuse me, folks, but I was sent to pick up just one person from the station tonight, Mr. Albert Respa. A European fellow, expert mineralogist on assignment, hired by the federal government on loan from Antwerp. When I was showing this at the Adventure Game Hotspot Fanfare event, I had a demo table there, and when someone got to this point in the demo, they kind of chuckled because I thought this was a Quest for Glory reference, because Antwerps are very odd creatures in those games. And it wasn't actually really a Quest for Glory Easter egg. It's because Belgium and Antwerp were and still are historically hubs for diamond trading. And so this is something where this has also got historical fact, but it's kind of fun that Antwerps are a creature in Quest for Glory, as well as historically being something that is very feasible for this time. And even now it's still a major hub. I wasn't told he'd be bringing any secretaries, wives, girlfriends. 1914. I'm sorry for the confusion, sir. Jack. I'm sorry for the confusion, Jack, but we don't know this man at all. My name is Nancy Maple, and my friend here is Kimi Kishiro. They're friends already. I think that's quite nice. I was sent from the Royal Canadian Museum to investigate the diamond claim up by Crimson Lodge, and I'm here to see the nesting cormorants. We're both here to stay at the lodge and go about our business. Do you know which way it is from here? I surely know where it is, because that's where I drove out from. But I'm sorry to tell you, ladies, the lodge has been closed to the public for months. You didn't hear? My boss, Mr. Richards, he's getting on. He's done with the lodging business. All he wants is peace and quiet. But then this whole diamond fiasco starts up. Folks all up in arms. He's not pleased at all, I can tell you. He's blue, too. This gentleman is here on the government's orders. Mr. Richards can't do much about that. But you two... Well, that's unfortunate, but you only have yourselves to blame for being uninformed. Let's be off, Jack. Good evening, ladies. The thing is, ain't no one's coming by here at this time of night. The nearest accommodation is the lodge, which is a few hours by automobile even still. Look here, I'll drive you ladies up to the lodge for the night. Tomorrow morning, I'll bring you back here so you can catch the train. As it is, Mr. Richards is going to be peeved about hosting unexpected guests. I mean, even more than he is already. His sister's come up from the city to stake her claim. And she brought a lawyer to boot. Come along now. Sure, I'll get those for you. I should turn my chroma key back on. I forgot to. Or is this on? Is this how bad my chroma key is? That's what it looks like? Oh, let me see. Give me 1 second. It's weird. Is that how bad the lighting is today? Oh boy. Let's see. Filters. Oh, hey, it is on. It is just that bad. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Okay. Back to business. Okay. Sir, your trunks arrived a few days ago. Boy, they sure are heavy. That's another... In Dag of Amon-Ra, when Steve Dorian talks about hauling Dr. Carrington's trunks in the beginning, he's like, oh, your trunks, boy, they sure are heavy. Just stuff like that. Like, even small little things like that I did think about when I was doing this. But I mean, they're not really technically Easter eggs. They're just like, I guess, weird callbacks or something. Ah, yes, of course. It sure gets dark here at night. Lucky for you, I've made this trip many times. Used to be, folks would come out here in the summers for recreation. And before my time, settlers came to this area in hopes of building lives for themselves. But once the mines were used up, there wasn't much reason for him to stay. The soil ain't that good. Have you seen any cormorants? I'm hoping to see some. Yeah, they nest up on the cliffside. Stay away, though. They don't like being disturbed, particularly during nesting season, which happens to be right now. This game actually is set in late August in 1914, which is kind of interesting because it actually is going to be launching in August. So this is coming out kind of around the time of year that this game is set, and also the nesting time of double-crested or double-breasted cormorants. Anyway. So if you're so wild about birds, I'd let them alone. You'd do more harm than good. Besides, tomorrow morning I'll be taking you right back to the train station, so you won't have any time to go looking for them. Have any other diamonds been found around the lodge? First of all, no way to know if that rock even came from around here. I've lived in this area for years and ain't never seen any diamonds, so I know for a fact that it didn't come from these parts. They say that man cut it out of the belly of a fish? That diamond could have come from anywhere upstream. You folks are wasting your time, sorry to say. Who cares about shiny rocks anyway? No use to anybody. We shall see about that. Your travel-weary companions resist your attempts at chit-chat. It seems that Kimmy and Albert have fallen asleep, although in the almost complete darkness it's hard to tell. It's impossible for Jack to hear you from the back seat above the cacophony of the engine and the automobile rattling over the rough country road. You decide it would be best not to distract him anyway. And here we go. Here we are. Wow, it's spectacular. You know what? I almost don't mind having more bodies in the lodge. Feels not so empty. Feels like old times. Make yourself at home while you're here. Thanks, Jack. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. I'm going to my room. Miss Kashiro, Miss Maple, your bedroom is upstairs at the end of the hall on the right. Oh, that's another thing I suppose I should explain. Nancy Maple is your character's name, which is Nancy Drew plus Miss Marple plus Canada. That's kind of... Yeah, I'm not good at picking names. The bedroom across the hall from you, that's Mr. Richard's suite. Try to keep quiet and stay out of his way, won't you? He shares that suite with Margot. She's his lady friend. I'm in the bedroom right next to yours, along with Mr. Shaw. Albert demanded the use of my bedroom, so that's where he is. I don't know why he was so insistent, but the customer is always right, eh? Ha! That's the smallest bedroom. It wasn't really meant for guests. Nessa's room is across the hall from Albert. I'd stay away from her if I was you. After I get this luggage upstairs, I'm going to start up some supper. Wouldn't do to have you all starve, eh? Why don't you explore the lodge a little? Talk to the other folks. Most important, stay out of my hair. I'm a busy man. Not literally, of course. Oh, and if you want to shower tonight, use the upstairs bathroom near the stairs. It's very pink. You can't miss it. Wonder if Nat's still here. How many places do I got to set at the table tonight? You and Kimmy head upstairs to your bedroom. You don't have any luggage to unpack, but you hang your cat and coat. Your hat and coat on the footboard of your bed and consider yourself settled in. Chapter 1, Introductions. To move Nancy, click the feet icon on your target destination, or you can use the arrow keys to move. I should talk to everyone and get to know them a little before dinner. Your notebook will tell you what you need to do to progress through the game. Type notebook or N when you need to refer to it. When you have lots of notes, click the arrow buttons or press the arrow keys to scroll through them. Essential objectives that must be completed to progress in the game will oh no, typo. Oh, see, even still, there's a typo. It happens every time without fail. I have to make a note. To progress in the game will be marked with asterisks. Okay. Game will... It never ends. It never ends. Will be marked with. Okay, here we go. Put it over there. Seeing as I've lost my luggage, I don't have much to amuse myself with before dinner. Perhaps if I take a look around, time will pass a bit faster. Okay, type look into the text parser is a good way to get your bearings. Okay, so a few things that I do want to mention. This game is kind of old school, and it isn't a text parser adventure game. So yes, you can look and do this. And this is the bedroom you're sharing with Kimmy. A pair of twin beds and matching nightstands are set against the east wall. Kimmy has claimed the bed closest to the fireplace, a clever move on her part, as summer nights are still chilly this far north. Kimmy is here. This interface I know is a little bit intimidating for people who have not actually played a text parser game before. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pop a quick save. It's going to delete all these. So we're going to click start. I just want to quickly show something. We're not going to go through that again, but I just wanted to show that if you've never played a text parser adventure game before, I do have a tutorial. And the tutorial is like a nice small little room with step-by-step instructions on how to perform some of the most common actions you'll be doing in the game. For instance, like, yeah, we just did our look in that first room. We can type look here and it'll describe, why you would want to do that and what it does. And it just goes step by step. I'm not going to go through it here, but yeah, it's going to go through everything, the basics of looking at people specifically, just looking at a room in general, examining things. But we're going to go all through that together. We're not going to need to do it because you've got me. But if you are interested in trying this style of game and you feel like I've never played this type of game before, I've got this tutorial here to give you to show you the ropes. We're going to leave though. We're going to get out of tutorial. And we're going to load back up to start. Okay. Right. This game also has a few different options depending on how you want to move. We mentioned that, it is a point-and-click adventure game in kind of a very loose sense because you can click around to navigate Nancy, but you can also use the arrow keys. If you are a die-hard Sierra adventure game fan, you'll know that the default way of moving the character around was actually tapping the arrow key in one direction and having her just move on her own, and then if you wanted to stop her or change the direction, you tap a different arrow key. And that is an option here if you want to. So there's press and hold arrow keys to move. There's also tap arrow keys to move. This is the way that Sierra people are used to. You just tap her once But I realized that most people don't move in games like this anymore, which is why the default is now press to move. So press and hold. There's also a graphical inventory, where you can look at the things you have in your inventory. You can examine them with the loop here. You can look at your notebook this way as well. But this also does require the mouse, and I wanted to make most of the game playable with no mouse, which means that I do have a text-based interface here. Hey, Eric Parkin, good to see you. Happy Crimson Wednesday. Yeah, this is, so I'll show you the text-based inventory here. You get a list here that you can scroll through. You can type L when you've got one selected to do that look action that you saw with the eyeball, performed with the eyeball in the graphical inventory, or you could type E to examine something. So this is also like this, and you can just move around if you like. I did pump the speed all the way up. Okay. This feels slow, and I'm kind of concerned. I'm going to turn the music up a little bit. Maybe. Oh, you know what? There were good levels before. I shouldn't have touched them. But yeah, maybe it's just because of the streaming is slowing her down or something. But okay, yeah, she's fast there. Okay. And we have a notebook, and this is something else I wanted to discuss in terms of like design changes that I've implemented versus something like the Colonel's Bequest. In the Colonel's Bequest, it was very easy to accidentally progress the game, which means you could walk in on a conversation or walk into a room, and then the clock would move, and then you might have missed something at that previous time. And I didn't want that to be the case in my game, which means it is explicitly spelled out in the notebook what you need to do to progress the game. If you you can do whatever else you want. You're encouraged to explore, ask people questions, whatever you want. This is your goal. If you want to progress the game, this is your objective, is to talk to everyone in the lodge, which means all these people. Anything else you do will not progress the game. Okay. Oh yeah, and there was also, okay, so let us, okay, I think this open drawer. There's a drawer here. Yeah, okay. Look in drawer. Curio drawer is stuffed with old brochures back from when the lodge was still being run as an inn. Let's take a brochure. Pick up one of the lodge brochures. You can ask characters about different topics. Try ask Kimmy about brochure, or just ask about brochure. So why don't we ask about brochure? Oh, we have to talk to her first. Yeah, this is kind of the first thing. For the first chapter only, you need to introduce yourself to everyone before you talk to them. Okay. Yeah, talking to characters as the game progresses can be helpful too. So let's talk to Kimmy. I've never been to a place like this before. I'm excited to explore, and I love meeting new people. Yes, you are the inquisitive type, aren't you? Jack did invite you to introduce yourself to everyone after all. It's only polite. I most certainly am. Would you like to join me? No thanks, Nancy. I'm exhausted. That bumpy ride from the train station has left me a bit frazzled. I'm looking forward to some peace and quiet before dinner. Oh, I can take a hint. I'll leave you be. Oh, one more thing. While you were asleep, Jack mentioned some old lodge brochures stored in the curio cabinet's drawer. They were meant for guests, back when the lodge was used as an inn. Evan thought, even though we may not stay long, he said that we're welcome to take them as keepsakes. Thanks, Kimmy. Okay, so notebook will track your progress. You've talked to Kimmy. It's marked with an X in your notebook. We've talked to Kimmy. Also, we've acquired the lodge brochure, which contains a map. And you can type in map, and you can take a look at the map. A map of Crimson Lodge. How handy. Okay. This is just to give you the layout. The very first section of the demo is basically just encouraging the player to explore all the rooms and then talk to all the characters. And then there'll be another, like, a cutscene that we'll get to. But this is just to ensure that people don't lose track of what rooms they've been in. It's not a fast travel map or anything like that. It's just like a static map. Okay. Open door. Moving on. I've also, kind of squeezed some other tutorialization boxes in the game as well. Hey, Overclocked Advocates, Happy Crimson Tuesday. Ask about Loom. I think I'll ask Margot about Loom, but I don't think she'll have much to tell us. Okay, there is a help window, and there are partial shortcuts, which I don't know. Eric Parkin actually in chat was kind of the reason I did these. There are partial shortcuts. So if you want to type less, you can do that. So for instance, open door, you can abbreviate that to OD, because there's a lot of opening and closing of doors and cupboards and all the rest of it. And if you type help, you can see some of the other shortcuts that are in the game. You can, and these are like the characters' names. You don't have to type out their whole name if you don't want to. These are their little short forms. These are the short forms for the most commonly used nouns: drawers, doors, cupboards, and things like that. Then talk, searching, opening, closing, asking about, all the rest of it. So just in case, if you I know this is a text parser game, but sometimes, for whatever reason, if it's not something you can comfortably do very much of, I've tried to accommodate that as well. Okay. So for instance, also another thing is sometimes, with this type of game, you sometimes have to walk closer to the door you'd like to open. But sometimes stuff like this should work. Would open left door work? Yes, open left door does work. And or open like southwestern door or things like that will also work. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look. The boudoir transports you to Fin de Siècle, Paris. It's shiny, opulent, perhaps slightly tacky, and very, very pink. A mirrored vanity is the focal point of the room. Exotic perfumes hover in intensely localized clouds that you can almost see. Every movement stirs air currents that bring new scents to your nose. A powder compact is on the vanity. You see a pretty blonde woman in a fashionable dress. Oh, that's another thing. I tried to make this text parser a bit more flexible than the text parsers that we've had back in the day, which means that you can actually talk to woman, or you can talk to person if you'd like, and if you kind of forget people's names. Talk to woman. Hello there, it's nice to meet you. My name's Nancy Maple. A pleasure to meet you, mademoiselle. I am Margot. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. How long will you be staying with us? I'm only here tonight, unfortunately. I was sent here by the Royal Canadian Museum on assignment, but Jack says I'm due to leave on the train tomorrow, according to Mr. Richard's wishes. I see. I'm sorry, but we won't get to know each other better. Oh yeah, Overclocked Abacus says, ooh, you automatically walk to things you interact with. That'll be nice change from the you're not close enough messages in Sierra games. You can still get those messages in this game, but yeah, if you're very specific about what you need to refer to, then you can type it into the parser, but you can like walk closer to stuff as well and like open drawer, open door, things like that. Okay. Crimson Lodge is a lovely place. I was a city girl for a time, but those days are behind me. We can ask her about Loom. Why not? Ask about Loom. Yes, no Loom. Not Loom. Loom is not even recognized in this game, I'm afraid. But yeah, I mean, what I love about text parsers is there's a flexibility to dialogue that you don't really get from point-and-click games. She mentioned the city, so why don't we ask her about the city? We can ask about city. Monsieur Richards tells me that Crimson was once a booming mining town. I would have loved to see it in its glory days. And if this diamond news is true, perhaps it will boom once again. We can ask about diamond. Diamonds are the finest of jewels, fit for royalty. We can ask about Evan. Mon cher, we met in Crimson a couple of years ago. I was terribly lost, and it was so late in the evening. No more trains were running that night, so he invited me to stay at the lodge, and I have not left since then. I can ask about Jack. There used to be many staff here, but now it is only Jack. Evan hired him after he shut down the lodging business and sent everyone else away. But that was all before my time. I only know Jack, and he is a fine man. He is in the kitchen making dinner. It smells so delicious. Can we ask about dinner? I don't remember sometimes what I've written in this game. There's a lot of words in this game. Okay, yes. Ask about dinner. Jack lacks formal training in cooking, but he does his best. Simple and wholesome food. Yeah, we can ask about, anyway, just to give an example. We could ask about parents. Life was hard growing up. We are not so close. Ask about lodge. It is so rugged and rustic, so charming. I fell in love with the place as soon as I saw it. Evan, he has let me redecorate a little bit to suit my taste. And so, of course, this is very much Margot's taste. And also, there are mirrors in this game that work a lot like King's Quest 3. I had to have them. They've presented some bug issues, but they're totally worth having. Okay. And I'm not sure if in the current build of the demo, it should be. There should be like stuff now. When I first put this demo up on Steam, all these cupboards and drawers and cabinets that everybody was sorting through were empty, which I did eventually want to do something with, just like, flavor items and flavor text. And so I did eventually fill them up with stuff. You can look in wardrobe here. Wardrobe is full of feather boas in a rainbow of colors. Look at boa. I've never seen a feather boa in real life. They look like fun to wear. Wear boa. I don't think Margot would appreciate me parading around in her things. Besides, I doubt I have the panache to pull off wearing one. Why don't we ask about boa? And I did add, this is bits of writing I did add. They don't, they don't really have so much to do with the plot, but they just kind of help set the stage of the setting. They are extravagances, I know, but I love to be surrounded by beautiful things. The feathers make my Evan sneeze, but he bears it and buys me a new one every year for my birthday. I am also surrounded by wonderful, caring people. I feel very lucky. That shouldn't say that. I am surrounded. More typos. More notes. This stage of the game, and this is the most played part of the game completely, and I'm still finding stuff. I am also should not be there. I am surrounded by wonderful, caring people. I feel so lucky. Okay, onward. Okay, why don't we move on? I really don't use the mouse when I'm playing this game at all. Yeah, these, I might as well just show, I show all the rooms. This is an ensuite bathroom. You can flush this toilet if you wish. You can wash your hands as well if you want. Okay, press escape or move the mouse cursor to the top of the screen to open the main menu. You can save, load, adjust the game speed, and more. Yeah, I've kind of been showing that already. There's a bunch of, other things, other options to this visual cue for notes. You may have noticed that when I've been talking to people, there's little, like a notebook thing with a little light bulb that pops up to give players a visual cue for, oh, you've done something kind of good, I guess, in the game. Because back in Sierra games, there would be a sound, but there would be no actual visual. So if you were hard of hearing or you didn't have the music on or for whatever reason, there was no way to indicate that you actually had done something, which is why I did want to have that. But if you don't like it, you can turn it off here. In case you haven't seen that, I will show it very soon. But that's open door. Oh, so then, I mean, you can also close door. You'll move. There's only one door here that I don't really need to specify. But, okay. This here. Now this, I will be showing this in a bit. Like, you know what? Why don't I show this now? This bit. This painting here of this cat has a few different iterations. And one of the things I like doing in this lodge, and actually this isn't the first example of this. There are a lot of these paintings, like this painting, for instance, is an actual painting that does exist. This is by Lauren Harris, who is a member of the Group of Seven, which was a group of Canadian painters from this era that would go up north and they would do like plein air painting, which means they'd go out into the actual wilderness and do like paintings and sketches of paintings and then come back and finish them off in their studio. And I did want to add that I actually really enjoyed doing like really low res EGA versions of these paintings. So this is one of them, this Lauren Harris piece. Another piece that it has, this one here. This is an Henri Toulouse-Lautrec poster, who is an Art Nouveau artist who made a lot of different posters back in this time. And I had a lot of fun again, like translating this gorgeous poster into this tiny little thing. That's not even 16 colors, really very limited colors, very tiny. I love that aspect of Pixelate, just simplifying things like that. This is also this lady on a horse picture. That's also based on another piece of Art Nouveau art, but I can't even find it anymore. It's somewhere in my hard drives. But this one, this piece is it's based on a pixel art piece that I did. This cat is Dido Cat, who is no longer with us, but she was our last family cat. And one of the things I love about pixel art is that it's relatively easy to convert it from pixel art to like real life art, because it's these standard block units that you can easily make a grid and then transpose that design onto something else. Which you'll notice behind me I've got a Nancy Maple sprite, this patchwork quilt my mom made of the whole entire sprite of Nancy Maple, and that's not the only one she did. And so I'm going to actually pull this piece to show you what this looks like. I'll be right back. Okay, this piece is this piece. So this is the little cross stitch I made. So this is the one for one. Let me turn off the game real quick. Okay, so this is the 1 by 1. It's getting keyed out a little bit, but you get the idea. Let me turn off actually I'll turn off the chroma key for a second. Okay, so this is that piece. So what you're seeing there is this. It's even more lower res than this one, which I think is fun. Just a smaller version of the piece that I designed. But there's a different one that's even more fun and more impressive. There's this version of this piece of pixel art, but there's also this one. I'm sorry, I'm far away from the microphone, so I'm going to talk louder. But here it is, this entire quilt of the same design. So this is a 1-for-1. This is a 1-for-1 of the piece that is also in the lodge. So I designed this one first, and then we put this one together. Well, my mom did everything here, so I did want to share that. And just to show us the power of, you know, if whatever size that unit squares, it's going to make a big difference in the final size of the piece. So I'm gonna put all three on screen at once. Here we go. All three of them together. Cat. Yeah, we're gonna need a water lens. So there we go. Yeah, pixel art is a great way. Oh man, I just scraped the ceiling. And not only that, I might as well take this opportunity. While we have Dido in our thoughts, that's not the only Dido piece we have. There is this one as well. So this is not in the game, but maybe I'll add it. I don't know. But this is another one that we've got. Let's see here. This was designed by me, executed by my lovely mother. Incredible piece. So this is what's so great about pixel art. You can bring your designs into so many different media. Okay. Back to the game. Back to the game. Let's get back. Okay. Filters. Okay. Sorry for that. I have a lot more cross stitching and stuff to show you, but we'll get to it. Wow. Okay, hold on. I gotta turn on this other light. Let's turn on this other. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, cool. Okay, moving on. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Back to the game. Right. Okay. And here is Albert. We're going to talk to Albert, talk to person. Again, I told you I tried to be as flexible as possible with the game commands. Talk to person also works. Hello, Mr. Respa. How are you settling in? Please, miss, I'm busy at the moment and can't chat. And there we have a note has been added to your notebook, which, yeah, it's been updated, and that's your visual cue for that. Mr. Respa is unpacking his things and doesn't want to chat right now. Still counts. Talk to Margot, talk to Albert. Okay, moving on. Let's go. Why don't we go just take a tour of everything? Here is this. This is the room that Nessa is staying in. Oh, another thing I want to show is that you can sit in these rooms. You can sit down. It's a cozy mystery. I wanted it to be a comfy cozy mystery. You can sit in this one too. I don't know. There's no reason for it. I just like it. You usually can't sit down in adventure games, and that always bothered me. Oh yes, backslash we've already covered. You can type P or pause in the game. You can pause this game when you want, and that stops everything. But to be honest, the game is paused until the player does something, for the most part. For like 99% of the game is waiting for you. And that's the kind of thing that I like in adventure games. In the earlier Sierra games, there were AGI games where you'd be typing in the text first and the game would not pause, which is very, very stressful. But they're SCI 0 games where you would actually bring up the text first and it paused the game. I really appreciated that because it felt like the game was not rushing me to do anything, and I could set the pace. And actually, at the Adventure Game Hotspot Fanfare this past weekend, I met Robert Heitman, who was the architect of the SCI 0 engine. So it was really cool to meet him. I got him to sign my Colonel's Bequest big box because he did work on that. I mean, that was the SCI 0 engine. Anyway, let's move on. Closet. Not much doing there. Yeah, so there are other handy keyboard shortcuts that I have implemented for very common things. Control A will open up Ask About, Control T for Talk To, Control L is Look At, and Control E for Examine. And we'll start using. I don't actually use them myself because I forget. but they are there. Okay. Here's this other bathroom. This is an Alphonse Mucha poster. If you look up Alphonse Mucha poster and Job, J-O-B, cigarettes, I think, you'll find this piece. But, of course, much more elaborate and complex. Onward. This is just a spare room. This is an absinthe, Art Nouveau absinthe poster that also does exist. I'm sure you could find it if you were to just Google Art Nouveau absinthe. I'm sorry I'm scratching my nose a lot. I think it's just allergies or something. Okay, moving on. We're going to try to get through this decently speedily, because it's almost 9 actually, and I've barely started. Okay. This door. This is the front door of the lodge. The demo that is available right now on my Steam store page and chapter 1 of the game is restricted to the interior of the lodge only. You can't really explore the rest of it. Chapter 2, you will get to go outside and do all kinds of stuff. My goodness, it's dark as anything out there. I have no need to go out this way right now. Okay. Okay. I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. This is a hallmark in the Laura Bow games, this listening in on conversations. And I definitely wanted to include this in my game, and I wanted to have it in ways you could listen to conversations, the different ways to listen in on different conversations. And at the very beginning of the demo, I wanted to make it simple so people could kind of get the hang of it. And all you really need to do at this stage is there's a number of different things you can try, but you can eavesdrop or just type listen, things like that when you get that message. Overclocked Advocate says, I remember having to frantically type throat chop before the dog ate me in Hugo's House of Horrors. Good to know that won't be a problem here. No, yeah, that's another thing. I've played Hugo. I love Hugo. Hugo, yeah, it stressed me out, but I love Hugo so much. That was a David P. Gray, solo game developer back in the 90s, and I have so much respect for the people who were making games back those days. It was easier in some ways and harder in some ways. It was much harder to actually make a game in those days because there were a lot fewer resources and the tools were harder to use. But yeah, if you made a game, it would be easier to get attention because now the tools are much easier to use. So people like me can make a game, but now getting the attention is the hard part because now so many people can make stuff. But I actually think on balance, I actually prefer it this way because I want the tools to be easy to use for everybody who wants to tell a story or make a game. I do think that's really, really cool and valuable. Eric Parkin says, Julia, how do you determine the dimensions of the paintings so that they fit in the room? What I did for the lodge is basically the lodge has room templates. So you'll see there are some rooms that are on the left side and some rooms that are on the right side. And I just kind of copied and pasted like the room dimensions, and I just used those as guides for every one of them, really. Yeah, and the overall screen is 320 by 200, so I kind of was kind of stuck with that. But I was lucky because the lodge kind of gave me a very structured way to create the art. We've only just arrived, but I can't wait to leave. I've always hated this place. We'll get this whole affair straightened out and be gone in no time. Of course, locating the will would expedite our departure. I told you I don't even know if there is a will here. That does complicate things, yes. Well, you do your job and I'll do mine. Game is auto-saved. Okay, this is going to bring up a couple other quality of life improvements from the old adventure games. Is the notebook doesn't just track your objectives, but yeah, we'll make a quick note about whatever listened to conversation that you've had. So this one says Nessa and Corvus are looking for a will. And the other one is autosave. That the game does autosave at its own points as well. I do recommend that you save early, save often, but it will save at key points of the game as well. Oh, we don't want to do that. Okay. Okay, so here is, this is also a painting. The painting above the couch here is another painting by someone in Group of 7. This is a piece by A.Y. Jackson. Oh, we have a seat. Let's give a seat. Okay. Why don't we talk? We can talk to people, and that's going to talk to both people in the room, which is kind of nice. Good evening. My name's Nancy Maple. It's nice to meet you. I'm Nessa Crabbe, Evan's older sister. What on earth are you doing here? Are you another one of Evan's gold-digging girlfriends? Not at all, but I am a diamond-digging mineralogist. At least I hope to be. The government has sent a professional to handle that. Stay out of his way. How are you, Nessa? I'll be happy when I can get back to civilization, reaping the benefits of this incredible windfall. Hello, how do you do? My name's Nancy Maple. Hello, Miss Maple. My name's Corvus Shaw. I'm Nessa Crabbe's, née Richard's lawyer. She is Evan's older sister. He gestures to the woman seated on the sofa. Once diamonds have been found on this land, I will ensure Mrs. Crabbe gets the share owed to her. You sound pretty sure that there are diamonds here. Of course, the prospectors have looked everywhere else. That means the diamonds must be here. All right, so we're going to stand up out of here. Open door, OD. Another bathroom. Nothing much doing here. Okay. Oh yeah, another thing that I should be using myself is spacebar or F3 will repeat a parse that you've already done. So we can just open doors. This is another Art Nouveau poster that you can probably find on the internet. I think this is also an absinthe poster. They really love their absinthe during this era. Then we have the billiards room. This room that I only made because the clue board that I have has a billiards room. I eventually did design a puzzle for it though. Okay, ooh, get in there, Nancy. Door, this is the dining room. It's fine. Oh yeah, why don't we do this? Why don't we have a toast? We can toast. To adventure, to mystery, long live text parsers and EGA, and long live pixels as well. Pixel art, there's something about it that I just gravitate toward, and I'm sure it has to do with my warm childhood memories of playing this type of game, but even new types of pixel art I love. Like I love seeing kinds of particle effects that can happen with pixel art, and just other different palettes and things like that. There's just something about it. I can't even really explain it. I try to, and I celebrate it all the time when I can, and when I get an opportunity like this to be in the PixElated festival. But yeah, I mean, when it boils down to it, I can't really say. I guess it just, and I'm not alone. There's something about it that super duper appeals. I'm glad you like the billiard room, Eric Parkin. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I like these wood paneled rooms that you can find in these kind of historic houses. Okay, so we had a toast. Okay. Oh wait, we can't. Yeah, I didn't. My last one was not. There's a study. Another clue staple is the study. Oh, we have another conversation we can listen in on. This time I'm going to listen at doorway. So what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about it? We aren't going to do anything. I'm going to stay out of everyone's way and wait for this all to blow over. But what if they find... Shh, listen, if you want to talk, we'll do it privately later. Meet me in the study after dinner. Aha. You can see we have another autosave. We also have a note. Evan and Nathan meeting in the study after dinner. Oh, that's something to keep note of. And let's move on. This last room. Okay. Here we go. Here's Jack. We can give a bit of a talk to Jack. We can look at Jack. Jack is a tall, lean man with a shiny bald head. He is Mr. Richard's employee and is in charge of the cooking, cleaning, gardening, and myriad other tasks the lodge might require. He's weary, but still seems to be in decent spirits. Jack is somewhere in his 40s. Jack is busy preparing dinner. So the first time you look at a character, you're going to get that long, like that little portrait with everything. Just like kind of in Colonel's Bequest, when you first look at a character, you get like that general description of them. And then from now on, when you look at characters... look at Jack. Look at Jack. When you look at characters after, it's going to tell you what their current state is and what they're up to at that stage of the game. So you're only going to get that first look that one time. We'll talk to Jack. Hello, Jack. How are you doing? Do you need a hand? Nah, I've got everything under control here. You go on, talk with the other folks. What has been added? Oh, did I miss? Oh, I didn't talk to those people in the conservatory. Oh yeah, this is another, of course, standard clue board or Cluedo board room is the conservatory, and I put it in here because of Clue again. Let's talk to Evan. Hello, my name's Nancy Maple. I know it's a bit repetitive, but I figured after this point you will have firmly established who you are and what you're here for. After saying it 8 times, like literally 8 times. Okay, hello, my name's Nancy Maple, and I'm a mineralogist on assignment from the Royal Canadian Museum. I'm Evan Richards. Look, you and your friend can stay the night, but tomorrow morning, Jack will put you on a train back to the city. But my boss sent me up here on behalf of the Royal Canadian Museum. I'm a mineralogist. I've got too much on my plate as it is, what with my sister and that lawyer of hers, and one mineralogist is already one too many. Oh, Overclocked Abacus asks, can you get the original description back later if you want to? Character page in your notebook or something. that would be nice. At this stage, where it's like less than 2 weeks away from launch, I'm not going to be putting anything new in, but I like that idea actually. So maybe for the sequel, which is something I want to do. Like, I already have plans. I have plans for a sequel that will be another Nancy Maple game. Please, Mr. Richards, allow me to stay for just a little while, and Kimmy too. Me, Margot, and Jack is all I want in this here lodge. You seem like a nice girl, but all this brouhaha is making my head ache. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Alright, let's talk to Nathan. Hello, my name's Nancy Maple. How do you do? Hello, Miss Maple. I'm well, thank you. My name is Nathan Cardinal, a family friend of Evan's. How do you know him? Oh, I don't actually know Mr. Richards at all. The Royal Canadian Museum sent me here on assignment. I'm to survey the land and find out if there are diamonds here. A discovery like that would surely make a splash when the museum opens to the public. You're wasting your time, I'm sorry to say. My family has lived in this area for many, many years and have never found diamonds here. Small red garnets are still plentiful, but of little value. Game is auto-saved. You heard Jack calling supper. It's time to head to the dining room. So that victorious chime is your kind of your progression sound. Check your notebook. We now have another note added that says go to dining room, all with asterisks. This means you are welcome to explore all the other rooms, talk to the characters, ask them any questions you want. If you go to the dining room, that's going to trigger like the next game section. So that's what that means. We can ask Evan about diamonds. It's not from around here, you mark my words. This whole business is just a waste of everyone's time. Can we ask him about the will? Will? Whose will? Or the one mine, or the one Nessa must be hot for, our Pa's will? Ha, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but Pa never had a will, never bothered. But I do, and if she ever tries anything, she's in for a shock. My father told me that Richard Sr. promised this land would be returned to my family, but wasn't clear on when. I happen to know that Richard Sr. didn't have a will, but Evan does. I've said too much already. It's a complicated matter. Interesting. So that's the kind of magic of text parser, is you get to know what words you can ask people. But we can ask Evan about Margot. I don't know, let's see what he has to say. She's my gal. Okay, not much. Ask Nat. You can also shorten people's names. About Margot. She met Evan and Crimson a few months ago. That's wrong. Make another note. It's been years. Margot said years. Inconsistency. Met after all this time. And Crimson. I could have sworn I fixed all those ones, but clearly not. A few months ago. Years. It's years. You don't remodel like so much of the house. A few months ago. Not these days. Okay. Right. Okay, now we have chapter progression. We're going to get into the dining room. Let's go for dinner. Delightful waltz. A delightful tense waltz composed by Dan Polakar. No. I love that. I didn't know you could even do like emoji things in Steam chat. My goodness, what a lot of company we have tonight. This is giving me indigestion. This food is giving me indigestion. You're welcome to leave. In fact, please do. You'd like that, wouldn't you? I'm not going anywhere until we find out if that diamond came from this land. And if it did, then you'd better believe I'm getting my share. That's what you think. Yes, that's what we think. That's what I'm here to ensure. Hey you, how long is that going to take? I will begin my field work tomorrow morning. Crimson used to be a garnet mining town, yes. Yeah, but forget about visiting the mines. They blasted the mine entrance and shut years ago when they closed it down. Unless the fish had a pickaxe, broke into the mine, swallowed a diamond, then dove back into the river? Yes, I see. I've never even been there, couldn't tell you where it is. Mr. Richards gets a sour look on his face and digs back into his meal. He looks like he is done with this conversation. Margot, what a lovely necklace you're wearing. Thank you, mademoiselle. Monsieur Richards, he gave it to me. I am very fond of it. A cheap trinket, misshapen paste gem in a cheap setting. It's a white garnet, not glass. My Evan, he found it here in crimson, didn't you, mon cher? I was told it was mon chéri. I don't have an accent. I don't have any diacritics in this game. I designed the font myself, and also when you start to add like vertical bits to stuff, it's kind of complicated. And I don't even actually know how to do diacritics on a keyboard, so I'm sorry there are no diacritics in the game. But in the credits that I'm doing, I'm gonna hopefully squeeze them in because I can just kind of do that by hand. Your voice acting is remarkably improved. Thank you, Eric. I wouldn't call this voice acting. It's just mildly changing my voice a little bit. I've also been doing a lot of those collab Let's Plays with level 0 NPCs, as I mentioned. We've done Colonel's Bequest, Dagger of Amon Ra, and for Spooktober last year we finished Phantasmagoria, and we're going to start Phantasmagoria 2 this Spooktober. Okay, yes, here we go. Right. Never mind, Margot. No one wants to hear about that. My sapphire brooch. Now, this is a real piece of jewelry. Bought it myself. She doesn't know that's a self, as the kids say, a self-own. That she bought it herself. Anyway. Well, I think they're both quite nice. Nathan, I read in the newspaper that most of the land up here was once parceled out to settlers. Is that how this plot became property of Mr. Richard's father? About 50 years ago, this land was annexed by the government. Various treaties were signed in exchange for preservation of our hunting and fishing rights and financial compensation. The promises described in those treaties were not honored, by the way. And the treaties he's referring to are specifically, I believe it's Treaty 9, and it happened kind of, I think, 5 to 10 years before this game starts. And this is like all historically accurate fact stuff that actually did happen, unfortunately, in those days. Settlers came, mines were dug, and Crimson was prosperous for a time. But eventually the mines were exhausted, most settlers abandoned their homesteads, and Crimson became a ghost town. Only Mr. Richards and his family remained. Yeah, we like the peace and quiet. We liked it, I've always hated it here. I sure do miss peace and quiet. Ness and Corvus are the first to excuse themselves from the table. They head to the bar for a nightcap. Albert follows them for a snifter of brandy and one of his cigars. Jack clears away the dishes and goes to the kitchen to wash up. After eating a minuscule portion of supper, Margot heads upstairs to draw a bath. Kimmy heads upstairs to get ready for bed. Nathan and Evan remain at the table, lingering over their desserts. The candles have burned down a fair bit over the course of the evening, leaving small puddles of wax solidifying on the tablecloth. Well, that was a lovely meal. Yeah, Jack does a good job. Usually I wait for Jack to come clear the dishes so as I can put off getting up. Looks like he's taken longer than usual to clear up, what with all the extra guests. I feel a little responsible for Jack's extra workload. Maybe I ought to give him a hand. You know, it's funny. I mentioned we're going to be starting that collab Let's Play of the Crimson Diamond on, like, we're starting recording on Thursday, tomorrow. And Nancy Maple, her parents emigrated to Canada from Ireland. So she should have like a light Irish accent, which I have not like looked into that yet, which I would like to put, like, you know how I'm just doing vaguely, slightly things here. I haven't done that for her. And I was actually going to look up on YouTube what Irish accents sound like again, so I could remind myself. And then kind of put that a bit on her voice, because she should have a little bit, I mean, she's not Laura Bow. Like, Laura Bow, of course, is very Southern, and so I did Southern accent for that, like, you know, bad Southern accent for that. But I would like her to have a bit of an Irish lilt, so that's something else on the to-do list before tomorrow. He'd appreciate that. About time someone made themselves useful around here. Okay. Stand. And we do have in our notebook, okay, our new objective is help Jack with the dishes. You're welcome to do anything else in the lodge. Before you do that, game progression point. Okay, but we do note Evan and Nathan are meeting in the study after dinner. And they're here right now. Maybe we can get to hear that conversation. So why don't we do that? You're fond of Irish accents? I do love an Irish accent. I love all those kinds of accents. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I just do them a little light. Like, I'm not an expert, clearly. It's just like add a little bit of, you know, extra to it. And so we can actually distinguish what the voices are. And so if people are listening, they will be able to actually just hear the difference between the characters so they don't all sound the same. Okay. This was also one of those things where it's not an Easter egg, but I guess it kind of could be considered an Easter egg. I always found this delightful in the Dagger of Amon Ra, this way of listening to a particular conversation in that game, and so I had to include it here. Which yeah, you can listen to this conversation by kind of lying in wait or hiding in a place, and I'm going to do that. So you can do this from over here, or you can walk up to the thing and type in just this one command. But if you hide behind tapestry. You stealthily slip behind the tapestry. Look, I don't know what else to tell you. My father and your father had an agreement. This doesn't change anything. But what if they find diamonds? What happens to the agreement then? No one's found any diamonds here. Nothing changes. We'll see what we can do about that nosy Belgian. Oh, also, speaking of nosy Belgian, of course, Albert looks a lot like Hercule Poirot, who is a famous Belgian detective character in Agatha Christie's books. And Margot. How many times do we gotta go over this? She's my gal, all right, but promise is a promise. When I'm gone, this land is going back to you and your family. Simple as that. We've been promised many things in the past. None of them have come to pass. A promise is a promise. We'll see. What about your sister? Nessa? Yeah, that's a complication. I'll figure something out. Just don't do anything rash, got it? I'm deeply concerned. Yeah, get out of here, why don't you? I'll be seeing you, Evan. Uh-huh. Okay. So looking back, at her notebook, Evan's father promised lodge and lands to Nathan's family after Evan dies. This notebook persists throughout the chapters. At the end, it's going to be probably pretty long. Everything kind of will be here that you'd need, hopefully, to finish the game properly. But it might be fun to also keep your own notes, because this will be scrolling through a lot of this by the time you get through 6 chapters. The game is 7 chapters long. The six chapters are like gameplay chapters, and the 7th chapter is like a debrief kind of a chapter where you kind of have to, it's like a test of knowledge chapter. But yeah, I would say that chapter 1 is probably the shortest chapter and the easiest chapter. They do get longer as we go. I would estimate that gameplay is 7 to 10 hours, a standard adventure game length of gameplay. Right. Some other things, sometimes people are talking at doorways, and you can kind of just listen if you want. I want to listen to this. This whiskey is not bad, surprisingly. This isn't the worst whiskey I've ever drunk. It's far from the best. My wife, Gabrielle, is teetotal, no fun at all. Ha, sounds like a barrel of laughs. You said she's a teacher? Yes, she loves the little tots with her stinky fingers. I was basically Evan's mother while we were growing up. I've hated kids ever since. He's such a chubby little whiner. He loved Crimson, but then again, he didn't know any better. Whereas I remember our real home back in England, Crimson couldn't compare. Have you any children, Albert? Certainly not. So do you think... I don't even know who's talking here, but it's okay. So do you think there really are diamonds here? It would be a very profitable venture for everyone involved. How soon will you know? I cannot say, madam. Oh, it's Nessa that's talking there. See, before I had, like, the character portraits beside this conversation, but it didn't really make sense because it felt like kind of redundant. It almost doesn't matter who's talking, though, and that doesn't... I guess that doesn't make me sound like a very good writer, but it doesn't really matter who's talking. Tomorrow morning, I will begin my fieldwork. So Albert's definitely talking here because his mouth is moving. My superiors wish me to be thorough. I may be here a while. Well, I hope you know sooner rather than later. I've never liked this place, and now I have to watch that harlot fawn all over Evan. It sickens me watching him get so easily manipulated by her, but then again, he's never been very bright. Good night, madam, Mr. Shaw. Woohoo. Okay. What have we got? We still have to help Jack with the dishes, right? That's our game progression goal. We can do that. Help Jack with the dishes. Oh, there are other things, though, by the way. Like, I might as well demonstrate this, too. There are other things that, like the other characters are moving around, right? So, for instance, like, here's Kimmy reading in bed. You can talk to her if you want. We can look at Kimmy. Kimmy Kishiro is a petite Asian lady in her late 30s. She's ruggedly dressed in knickerbockers and sensible shoes. She seems shy and doesn't reveal much about herself. During the train ride, you managed to glean that her family emigrated from Japan in the 1870s. Kimmy is reading a bird book in bed. Okay. We can also go over here. We can see Margot is in the bath. We can just walk in, say hi. We can talk to Margot. Hey, Margot. Because it did mention after the end of the dining room cutscene that, you know, everyone was kind of going different places. So yeah, Kimmy went upstairs to bed and Margot went to draw a bath. And so she's in the bath. Hello, Margot. How's the bath? Bonsoir, mademoiselle. The water is very soothing on my joints. Perhaps the change in weather is causing me some aches. Okie dokie. Bye. Okay. So we did help Jack. Did we? Oh, we haven't helped Jack yet. Okay. Why don't we do that next? Oh, whoops. Okay, back. Okay. Okie dokie. Help Jack with dishes. You help Jack wash the dishes. Thanks, miss. Lots more dishes than usual. Happy to help. Now I gotta go to see Mrs. Crab and Mr. Shaw in the bar. Have to make sure they don't drink us dry. And of course, need to get Mr. Richards his hot toddy. He likes a soothing drink before bed. And I don't want to keep Margot waiting. Forget about that last one, won't you? Okay. That is our progression sound. We now have a new goal. Eavesdrop on boudoir door, which is where Margot is now after her bath. That is our current objective. A couple fun things I guess I can show. Well, one at least. This game is an adventure game studio game. And sometimes adventure game studio developers will put in a special AGS Easter egg. And Francisco Gonzalez has done this for his game Lamplight City. I've also seen it in Feria Darls, this very thing. What we have is, let's look in this cupboard. There are huge, heavy pots and pans in the bottom cupboard. The glass paned cupboard contains a couple of decorative mugs, a pretty blue mug, and some plainer mugs. Let's take mug. You take the blue mug. Well, let's take a look at it. Oh yeah, I'm still on the this inventory. It's okay. Why don't we look at mug? The mug has a beautiful blue glaze. The kind of mascot for Adventure Game Studio is the blue cup. It's called the blue cup. So it's fun when you find it in AGS developer games. And this is actually a pretty important inventory item in my game, which I'm kind of happy to do. Let's examine it. The bottom of the mug has an inscription that reads as follows: AG Studio by Chris Jones, model 3.6.0. Chris Jones is the person who created this game engine, and there are other people who've kind of taken up the torch and have been keeping the engine updated, even up to, with newer and newer builds coming out almost, I feel like, monthly almost. There's a vibrant adventure game studio community that still is out there on Discord and on their forums. And I'm so happy for that, because I've had some problems with code before that I've been helped with by other AGS developers, and it's one of the huge reasons why it's not one of the reasons why I picked AGS, but it's one of the reasons I'm so glad I picked AGS, because the game engine is more than 25 years old at this point, and it's still got this really thriving community behind it, which is really nice to see. I started making this game in AGS version, I think 3.3.2.1 or something like that. And now I updated it during the development of the game, which is not really a good idea to do mid-development, but 3.6.0 had some better stuff that I think was more helpful for me. So I did end up updating to 3.6.0, and the current engine that the game will be releasing on, I'm currently developing on, is 3.6.0 still. So this is that, just a tribute to that. I just am so appreciative of, it's the reason I made this. Watching Let's Plays of Francisco Gonzalez's Ben Jordan games, and also I mentioned Yachikosha's Chizo Mythos games. Watching Let's Plays of those on YouTube was super inspiring to me, because then I realized that there was a tool exactly like what I needed and wanted. So, anyway. Yeah, whack Albert with blue mug. Okay, onward. Now, we do have this goal: eavesdrop on boudoir door. But let's see. Here's Mr. Richards. Let's look at him. Let's look at man. Okay, yeah. Evan Richards is a husky, weather-beaten man in his mid-60s. He owns Crimson Lodge, though his sister Nessa might have something to say about that. He seems gruff and bothered about having his wildlife idyll disturbed, which isn't that unusual considering he is a recluse. Evan is lounging in the conservatory, lingering over a nightcap. I want to talk to him. This is a lovely lodge, Mr. Richards, especially this room. My pa did all of this, had nothing to do with me. Glad you like it, though. Okay. Great. I think we're good for that. I don't think there's really anything else. Are there voices again? Oh, I guess they are having, okay, another. Ness and Corvus stop talking and pointedly avoid looking in your direction. We could listen. Not very friendly, are they? We could listen to this conversation out here, like the first conversation we eavesdropped upon. But as I mentioned, sometimes there are multiple ways of listening in on conversations, and this is an example of that, where you can actually listen to that conversation from here. Father's will has to be around here somewhere. Things would be so much easier if we could just find it. If the will can't be found, we might have to proceed as planned to take our chances. That little gold-digging hussy complicates things. Speaking of that, I found out something interesting recently. It could help us deal with her, but we'll talk about that another time. Good night, Mr. Shaw. Good night, madam. Okay. New note. Nessa can't find a will. Nessa is dealing with Margot. Okay. Right, but we still have that objective. The main objective, I see they've gone from this room. But we can find them up here now. Oh, this door's locked. This is Albert's room. Oh, that's another thing you can do. You can knock on doors, which... Leave me alone, whoever it is, I'm busy. If there's no one behind the door, then nothing will happen. But yeah, so Albert's bedroom door locks. It's the only bedroom door that does. We can see here, this one doesn't. And here is... Let's look at this man. Corvus Shaw is a Natalie dressed... Is a Natalie... Oh, typo. Oh my gosh, really? See what... Okay. This is the 4th typo I found today in the most played part of this game. Okay. Corvus Shaw is a Natalie dressed. Okay. It never ends. Okay. Natalie dressed in black slacks and a striped vest with metal buttons. He seems like a very clever sort with quite a sharp tongue. You can see why he gets along with Nessa so well. Corvus is fast asleep. We can't talk. Talk to Corvus. Yep. Corvus is asleep. You can't talk to him right now. Yeah. That's unfortunate. We can also... oh yeah, there's Nessa. We can look at Nessa. Well, they're sleeping. Isn't that nice? Look, Nessa. Not creepy at all. Nessa Crabbe is Evan Richards' older sister. She is a stern, matronly woman with a look of perpetual displeasure etched into her face. Back in the city, you've seen plenty of women just like her, well-to-do and disapproving. Nessa is gently snoring and fast asleep. Eric Parkin, thank you so much for dropping by. It's always good to see you. Have a good night, and thank you so much. Yeah, well, the launch is going to be exciting times. Apparently I've got at least 4 typos to fix before I launch this game. Another fun thing I can show is, yeah, there is an item that I neglected to pick up in this area here. Why don't we do that? Well, I actually didn't really look in this room. The parlor is freshly decorated with elaborate wallpaper and a cushy carpet. A cut crystal bowl of Jordan almond sits on a low table. There is a fancy pair of armchairs and a camelback sofa. A small bronze sculpture stands on an ornate cupboard. Let's look at bowl. Look at bowl. A lovely fancy cut crystal bowl full of Jordan almonds. Let's take almonds. Take almonds. Never knowing when a confection that might double as small caliber ammunition might come in handy, you take a handful. Okay. We can actually look at the Jordan almonds. Handful of Jordan almonds, colorful, unpalatable, and harder than most rocks you've studied. Examine. The surface of the Jordan almond is disconcertingly smooth and unblemished. Can nothing scratch its indomitable shell. Okay. Onward. 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 What else fun can I show before we get to that last part? Oh yeah, there's also, yeah, why don't I show this? I mentioned that are even people awake to ask stuff? Okay, so Evan's awake, so this is kind of nice. I mentioned that I did end up filling some of these closets with things. Okay, look in cupboard. The wardrobe contains a stack of old cracked flower pots, a broom, and an empty pony keg. Look at keg. Oh, jeg, no. Look at keg. Pony keg is probably from the lodge's days as an inn. Look at broom. Brooms lean against the empty pony keg. It looks like it's seen better days. Look at pot. Every single one of these large flower pots is cracked. Right. These, yeah, I mentioned that I put these items in to kind of help. If you wanted to ask about them, you can ask about other characters about them, and they can give you some background about what the lodge was like before this time. So why don't we take this opportunity to ask about keg. Ha! Happy memories. Back when this place was taking guests, we'd fill this place with singing and music, and plenty of pony kegs. The larger kegs wouldn't fit in the automobile. My pa would make so many trips back and forth from the train station day and night. What changed? The mines died out, settlers abandoned their homesteads. It made my pa real sad. After he and ma were gone, I started to prefer a quieter life. But I keep one of those little pony kegs in the main floor closet to remind me of those good days. Ask about pots. Flower pots. I remember about flower pots, leaking dirt into my automobile, which was new at the time. Jack got a bee in his bonnet about growing fruit and veg here, so I helped him pick up plants he'd ordered from the train station. Eventually he didn't order them from the train station. He'd ordered from the train station. Eventually he figured out what worked and didn't need to mail order plants anymore. I'm sure those flower pots are still in the lodge somewhere. So, just stuff like that. Just little bits of writing to add to it. Let's see. There's also the upstairs closet also has stuff in it. And I can't remember what I put in there, so why don't we find out together. Oh, here it is. Okay. Open cupboard. S cupboard. The wardrobe is full of dusty, cobwebby old junk. There's a cane, a blanket, an old lamp, and some books. Okay. Look at cane. An old wooden cane is hooked onto the wardrobe rod. You can't. This cane. Okay. I put in a way. I'll put this cane as a bit of a tribute to Colonel's Bequest again. That is an inventory item of some note in that game. But it was also an opportunity to add something to this closet that you can ask Evan about. So we're going to do that. And this is something that's true of this newest version of the demo that wasn't in older demos. Why don't we ask about cane? A, my pa used to cane for years and years. The first time he tried to chop down a tree here in Crimson, the thing fell on his leg. He was an accountant back in England. They didn't teach lumberjacking in accounting school, I guess. Pa took it in stride, chopped many more trees in his life. Nessa was more upset about it than he was. Yeah. What else was there? I don't think the other things have anything particularly interesting. Oh, we can ask about boas. Ask about boas. The feather boas in Margot's walk-in closet. I don't understand boas. They're just feathery scarves, tickly things. But Margot loves them, so I buy one for her every year for her birthday, all the way from Paris. Yeah. So, okay. I think at this point we can finally do. Oh yeah. Okay. So we can go over here, and we need to listen to this door, which we can try. You can hear muffled voices from the boudoir, but the speakers are too far from the door to hear them clearly. Perhaps you could listen at the door with an item that would help. This is very Dagger of Amon-Ra kind of thing. If I can't figure out what to use, maybe someone else would know. Okay, well, we can try opening this door, but it's locked. We can try knocking. You're about to raise your hand to knock, but the hushed voices on the other side of the door give you pause. I get the feeling I shouldn't be interrupting whatever's going on in there. Okay. And yeah, this is something where when I'd watch people play the demo on streams and at events, people would get stuck on this, and what I tried to do is add more like prompts of what might help in this case. So one thing you can do is, I don't think people realize this, and I don't really describe this very much or explain this very much, and it's not available all the time, but yeah, sometimes you can ask other characters about things. So why don't we ask Evan about listening? Mr. Richards, I'm having a little trouble with hearing. A, already hard of hearing at your age? Some say glasses help with that. Drinking glasses, not spectacles. See? Ha ha. Drinking glasses. Yeah. Something else about this is that some people, they'll try to use the mug. Listen to door with mug. Oh, that's not. Okay, listen with mug. The ceramic mug wouldn't transmit sound very well. Perhaps a similar item would do the trick. Right. So we need a drinking glass, and we can get that. There's so many glasses in this game. That's why it's kind of confusing. But yes, sometimes people try to take the glasses from here. These glasses don't really serve your purposes. They all have such delicate stems. I'm much more comfortable with tumblers. They can be used for all sorts of things and aren't just fragile. So we need like a tumbler, which is a stemless glass. We can try taking these glasses. The way these glasses are made, they aren't useful for much more than drinking, and isn't that enough? Maybe I can find more versatile drinking glasses in the kitchen. And yes, indeed, drinking glasses is what we need, and we can indeed get them from the kitchen. And there are lots of cupboards in here. Too many. You might even say too many. Let's search this cupboard. Saucepan in the cupboard. Open drawers. Search drawers. Yeah, sometimes I will use the shortcuts, but I do want to show people that, this game you could type full words out too. Search drawers. The drawers are full of all the random bits and bobs one usually finds in kitchen drawers. Did I search this? I can't remember. Saucepan. Right. Okay. You can open this cupboard. Open cupboard. Okay, you open the cupboard, search cupboard. Oh, no, search cupboard. The top cupboard has a variety of plates inside. The cupboard under the sink contains the pipe that drains the sink. Okay, one more. Oh yeah, there's also this. There's open icebox. Okay, open it. The ice block is solid and frosty. Take ice. As much as you like to break the ice, you lack the appropriate tool. So it's close ice box. Okay. This is also kind of a fun thing. Look at fly paper. So yeah, that's another thing. If you look at the room, it'll tell you some of the things you can look at or interact with. Well, it should tell you everything you can look at and interact with. The kitchen has a rough-hewn rustic charm. The lack of decorations and fine furnishings implies that this room wasn't meant to be seen by the lodge's guests. There are cupboards along the walls and an ice box in the corner. Yeah, so I did just pull that from the air. Like that you can actually, it should give you text prompts of what you can interact with. A strip of yellow flypaper dangles near the door. Okay. Look at flypaper. The sticky flypaper is loaded with dead flies frozen in various states of mortal struggle. Ew. Okay. Let's open last cupboard. Search or look in cupboard. Cupboard. Okay. The top cupboard has drinking glasses inside. The bottom cupboard has pots and pans inside. Let's take drinking glass. Great. Great. Let's take a look at our inventory. Let's actually, for variety's sake, why don't we change it back to the graphical inventory? We can see the drinking glass. The drinking glass you got from the kitchen. Spotless. Jack is quite fastidious. You can look at it. You admire the brilliant shine of the squeaky clean drinking glass. Okay. Great. Onward. So we're going to use this on the boudoir door. Oh, we didn't spin in the chair mouse. Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah. The game, I'm not showing everything in this game. There is some stuff that I did not show in this playthrough of the demo. And there are like little fun things you can do. I mentioned and I've shown that you can sit in a lot of the chairs and stuff in the lodge. And this chair is no exception. And it's kind of fun because this type of rolly chair with wheels was invented by one of the founding fathers, I believe. I think I can't remember which one, but one of them did. So like in the late 1800s, like a rolly spinny chair. So this is not an anachronism. They actually did have these chairs. But yeah, we can spin in this chair just for fun. And I'm happy because as a solo developer, I've gotten the chance to kind of, no one's told me no, and I've never had to explain or rationalize any of my decisions, which might be why this game took more than 6 years to make. But at the same time, yeah, I get to do fun stuff like that. For no reason. Really? Just because I wanted to. Right, next. Oh yeah, here. See, look. Okay, so this bathtub is empty now. I've been having troubles with this bathtub in testing, and we're going to have to revisit that at some point. But anyway. I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. Okay, so why don't we listen with glass? With the help of the drinking glass, you can hear a conversation behind the boudoir door. Let's have a look. Oh, monsieur, you're wonderfully helpful. I cannot thank you enough. I do what I can. Mon Dieu. Sorry about that, but you know we gotta go slow. The pamphlet says so, right? It does, more's the pity, but I think it's working. You hear some muffled cries. Shh, you gotta keep it down, especially tonight. So many ears around. You are right, of course. This must remain our little secret. The voices go silent for a little while. All right, I think we're done here. I gotta skedaddle before Mr. Richards finishes his drink and comes to bed. Of course, merci, Jack. Your days and nights are so very long. You got that right, and I'm not done yet. Having all these folks in the lodge, I gotta work that much harder. I'm sure they will be gone soon. Everything will be back to normal. I hope so. Bonne nuit, Jack. Good night. You hear footsteps coming towards the door. Thinking quickly, you duck behind the big blue chest. This part of the game I was actually thinking about making it the player having to figure out ducking behind the big blue chest. But then, like I mentioned before, like I don't like having timed sequences in the game. I don't want the player to just be caught out or anything like that, and that's kind of a stressful situation. But also I can't just have Jack not appear at the door until you do this thing, because he's just said he was leaving. And so I just decided to make this like part of the cutscene. After a few minutes, Margot leaves her boudoir and heads downstairs. You manage to sneak across the hall to your bedroom. What a long and intriguing night this has been. Outstanding, fantastic detective work. Nancy, you're a natural. Phew, I'm exhausted. What an interesting place this is. It's too bad Kimmy and I have to leave on the train tomorrow. And before I leave off and show you the very last bit of this demo, does anyone have any questions about the development of this game at all? I'm not going to leave. After the game, after I finish the demo, I'm going to end off with a show and tell of pixel art, like actual real life pixel art. So I'm not going anywhere quite yet. I'm probably going to be done around 10. Okay, here we go. Okay, yes, thanks for playing my demo. If there are any bugs, yeah, please tell me at feedback@thecrimsondiamond.com. I found 4 typos today. That's okay. They're minor typos, but I will fix them. Actually, typos are my favorite kind of bug to fix because they are the easiest. All right. And here are the credits. The credits are not finished yet. I was working on them today. All my Patreon patrons of either of my tiers will be in this as well. So they're not in here yet, but I'm going to be adding them soon. Yeah, and there we go. That is the Crimson Diamond demo. Pretty much. I mean, most of that. I mean, yeah, I don't think I skipped too much of that. And as you could see, I got a pretty good score, which you'd hope that I would. But let's actually keep that going. Just turn it down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, why don't I, when I minimize the screen, it just, the music turns off. But what I'm going to do next is, I'm going to do a bit of arts and crafts show and tell. This is PixElated Festival. And I did want to show other types of pixel art that I have done, not just the 320 by 200 EGA pixel art, but other stuff. So here we go. And I did want to talk about this. So I'm sorry for the poor quality of this slide. But I've talked with I did a talk for IGDA Twin Cities. I did this, like, it was an online talk that I delivered about the magic of pixel art, why I love it so much. And these were a couple slides from it. And this is to show the incredible variety of, like, lighting effects and stuff you can get just from pixel art with no transparencies or anything like that, just from these 16 colors of the default EGA palette that was kind of most widely seen in like the late 80s and early 90s, just for a few years actually, really. But yeah, this is, I was experimenting because the game does have, like, day and night in it. So we get to the lodge, and in the nighttime, chapter 2 is daytime, so you get to see, like, outside the lodge during the daytime, and some of the rooms have, like, daylight streaming into them during chapter 2. And I was experimenting with, like, what kind of time of day can I emulate using just these 16 colors? And I actually found it to be quite flexible. I ended up, for my nighttime in Crimson Diamond, I used the middle row. I think the right hand one on the middle row is the color I ended up using, because I still really enjoyed seeing the colors done, but just more subdued. And I love the fact that with this type of pixel art, you can't really just slap a blue transparency on something and call it night. With the original Quest for Glory games, they had day and night cycles as well. King's Quest 1, you actually had to do this yourself. Like, you had to do, like, palette swaps and everything, or, like, actually just redo the pixel art, which I kind of love. And yeah, we have the view of the lodge. You'll see both of these different views of the lodge in the game, in chapters, in subsequent chapters after the demo. Lodge, and they have the view of the lodge in the daytime, and the view of the lodge in the nighttime. Also, I talk about in that the amazing 16 colors, this EGA palette with this pixel art. You can create such a variety of different lighting effects, different kind of, like, colored lighting. You can see in the King's Quest 2, you get this idea of lighting where you have the darker color in the shadow area versus the lighter color there, which I always think is magical looking. And on the bottom row here, you can just see how you can give the impression of different kinds of light and different strengths of light from just dithering and stuff of the pixels, which again I find to be completely magical. If you want to find this full talk that I do, if you go to my YouTube channel, which if you just Google, just go into YouTube and Google but if you go into YouTube and on the search bar, if you put in, like, Julia Minamata IGDA pixels or something, you hopefully should be able to find this talk if you want to hear more. And I love this. This is all the different kinds of dithering that you can get from the 16 colors. Of course, this is much higher resolution and everything like that, but you can see how you get a lot of variety, and it's just really impressive to me. And what I love about it is because it's like pointillism, right? Where all the colors are separate. They're not like blended with each other, so they don't get muted. The effect is quite bright, and even though your eye kind of dulls them down when they're seen further away, if you move up close to them, they're quite brilliant, and I think that's kind of magical too. This is an example of my own explorations into real-life pixel art. I've done my fair bit of cross-stitching with the EGA color palette, and I've done a lot of buying of DMC embroidery floss to try to recreate the brilliance of EGA in real life. And it's never going to be perfect, of course. EGA belongs on a computer monitor, and it's best displayed on a computer monitor. But we can try to do our best. And my best approximation, I think, of the palette is probably that top row of embroidery floss. And here are the colors I ended up using. If you are interested in doing your own EGA cross-stitching, these are the colors that I've worked with. Other people have worked with other ones. And actually, just as an example, oh, I can turn off my face. This one. Okay, I'm going to activate and deactivate the camera. Just let me reset my camera. Sometimes it gets... Oh, there it goes. Okay. Right, okay. This beautiful piece, this is a cross-stitch Nancy Maple. And this person is not using the same exact colors that I'm using for my EGA cross-stitch. But what's great about this is that what you can see is it's the context of how the colors all work together. It's what's giving you the effect of the EGA. I was super picky about my colors. I'm sure this person was very selective about their colors too, but it doesn't really matter what colors you use as long as they kind of work together well to give the different kinds of like contrast and brilliance. But yeah, Caitlin gave this to me at the fanfare this past weekend, and I was so touched to get that from them. So thank you so much, Caitlin. This stayed on my table the rest of the event, and it's actually on my table now. I just put it on my desk, and I look at it all the time now. There's that. And I'm going to get my example. So let's actually put back this here. This is, this is Rise of the Dragon. I mentioned I Let's Played it on my Twitch streams, and I put the playlist up on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. I think this game looks gorgeous in EGA, particularly this dragon. This pixel art dragon might be one of my favorite pieces of EGA pixel art I've ever seen. And actually, yeah, here, I'm going to bring it over because I actually have it here with me. 1 second. And actually, I'm going to turn on my music as well, my background music back on here. Okay. Okay, there we go. Me on main. Pixelated slideshow off. Okay. Let's turn off the chroma key as well to get the full effect. Okay. Yeah, I did the actual pixel art myself, and you can see that the quilted border, there's a beautiful quilted border here, and that was done also by my mom, who is the best mom ever. But yeah, that's the pixel art in real life, cross-stitching. I love it. I love it. I love that I can kind of convert the stuff on screen to this and just kind of enjoy it. And I also wanted to show an example of my own palette here. You can see there are 2 Nancy Maples on this. The reason there are 2 Nancy Maples on this is because I was doing some color exploration between them about what exact embroidery floss colors I wanted to use. And so there we go. I haven't done all the characters yet, so that's definitely something I want to do. That's that. And actually I have one more pixel art one to show you. Let me just grab it. There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay. And as we were playing the demo, you might find this scene familiar. I'm trying to like put it up to the, there we go. Oh, thank you, Mastermiss. I'm glad you like how the dragon and the portrait. Yeah, this I kind of love. It's a full scene. But yeah, of that parlor with Nessa and Corvus and Nancy. So this, you know, this is why I was so pleased to be included in this PixElated festival, because I kind of like live and breathe this stuff every day. Okay, next for the slideshow. Okay. And this piece is, I Let's Played a game on my channel called Legend of the Sword, which has the most incredible UI I've ever seen. It's an adventure game. It's a text-based adventure game. It's kind of super tricky, but here is, on the right-hand side, you can see the in-game graphic for when you die, which is great. It says "The End," and the bottom one says "Tough Luck," which I think is wonderful. And then the one on the left is my cross-stitch version. And here it is. Again, with a border by my mom. So, yeah. So there's that. Let's see. I think that's the end of the slideshow, but just let me take a quick look. Oh yes, and this is, I showed this before earlier on stream. This is the process of creating that amazing Dido Cat quilt, the first Dido Cat quilt, which was based on my own cross stitch of it, which is in Crimson Lodge in Corvus and Jack's bedroom. You can see just all the amazing amount of work and precision that went into making this. And here it is, yeah. And of course I couldn't end this. I couldn't end this without, of course, sharing what may be one of my proudest pixel art pieces that I've ever done. And this one is in the introductory sequence of the currently available demo. It's going to be, of course, available in the full game release as well. This is just a really nice close-up of a fish going into a bucket, and that's really all it is. But it's just such a joy to try to create different kinds of lighting effects and materials, and it's a challenge to recreate them in pixel art, in the 16 colors that I've chosen, and in this resolution. And yeah, I mean, it's a fun challenge, and pixel art is a wonderful way to limit yourself in one way, but also I find that limitation really liberating, because it means that you don't have to focus so much on being high resolution and ultra realistic. You're kind of just making an approximation, an impression of I guess what is real, which is what I'm more interested in. I'm more interested in interpretation than trying to recreate something that's super duper real. And I think that's the whole slideshow that I wanted to show. Yes, okay. I want to quickly check to make sure there's anything else I missed showing. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to show. Hold on, let me just pull it out. Okay. One more thing to show. Okay. I wore this hat all through. I like to wear this when I go to events and everything. Another example of how nice it is to recreate actual pixel art on items. So this is embroidery. It's kind of hard to tell with this lighting, but yeah, this is like a 6-color Nancy Maple. And actually, speaking of the bucket, this is a hat with the bucket embroidered on it as well. Breaking things down into very limited color palette actually works really well, because the embroidery you see has also very limited color. But yeah, not only this, but I have to give a shout out to Canvas Quest Tom, whom I had the pleasure of meeting at the Adventure Game Hotspot Fanfare. And he gave me these pins. This one, of course, is Laura Bow. None other than Laura Bow from the Colonel's Bequest. And we have Fifi and the Colonel, which I love so much. So thank you so much to Canvas Quest Tom for giving me these pins. Also, speaking of Hugo's House of Horrors, I don't know if the person who's here mentioned it, but I bought this one. He was going to give this one to me, but I insisted on paying, but he only let me pay $2 for it. This is also a Hugo's House of Horrors pin that he made. But again, the simplified colors and shapes of pixel art work so well in so many different mediums. So we're not talking just enamel pins. We're talking quilts, we're talking cross stitching, and yeah, anytime I see pixel art in games, it really makes me happy. Yeah, so there we go. I'm gonna turn on my chroma key again. Okay, we have a little bit of time left. Okay, good. So Overclocked Abacus, did you get to see the Hugo's House of Horror pin I just showed? I could show it again if you were kind of looking away from your screen. But yeah, we have about 7 minutes left in the stream. If anyone wants to ask me any aspect of pixel art or about the game, I have an actual... so me and Chris DeLeon, who is from Home Team Game Dev, he and I posted a panel with a bunch of other indie game developers who talked about making art for your game if you're not like a trained artist. And actually, I was the only person who had gone to school for art on that panel, but everyone else hadn't. And not everyone, but a fair few of them who made their own art were making pixel art. And okay, good. I'm glad you Overclocked because I'm glad you saw the pins. I love the pins. Yeah, pixel art is not only do I love pixel art because just of the look of it, but it is actually, I would say, compared to like 3D art or things like that, it's comparatively easy for game developers who, even if they're not like trained in art, to make their own art and their own graphics and things like that. That's what also gets me excited about it. It's a way for people to just make their own assets and everything, and make their own, make it look really unique with kind of and if you're insecure about making something look realistic, then pixel art, a low-res pixel art with a limited palette is going to kind of take that off the table completely anyway, and you're going to focus more on what's important in a game, which is representing the ideas in the game, right? So we don't need to have a realistic looking chair in a game. We just need a graphic that people will know is a chair or a door or a person. That's what's most important. We don't need it to be more like super specific. And the more specific you are, the more technical it gets, and the longer the time the assets take to develop, and the more the more things can go kind of, I don't want to say wrong, but the more difficult it is overall. Which means that when you're an indie game developer and you are just on your own, doing assets that are much simpler to make and much faster to make is going to go a long way into making your game development shorter than it would be otherwise if you had been trying something more elaborate. There you go. Overclocked Abacus says, vector art is also a good way for non-artists to make art. I'm doing most of the assets in my game in Inkscape. Yeah, my absolute favorite thing is when game developers go for it and they're making their own art. They're learning as they go. That's one of the reasons I really respect and admire Francisco Gonzalez, who you can see his progression from Ben Jordan 1 to Rosewater, and he's completely self-taught, and the lower resolution stuff he was working on, then he went into higher and higher resolution, and he does rotoscoping now for his animations, and it's very elaborate. It's incredible to see. If you just go for it and you try, you don't let yourself stop yourself, I suppose is what I'm saying. Somebody else I met at Adventure Game Fanfare was Jeff Kintz, and Jeff Kintz made the Dark Convergence 1 and the Dark Convergence 2. And the art is very simplistic in those games, but it carries across the tone and his intent extremely well. And I think that's what people should be aiming for over, this doesn't look like realistic stuff. Like none of my stuff looks realistic, right? That's not the goal when you're making a game. You want to make something that the player can see what directions they can go in, and the menus make sense, and you can tell the difference between a character and a doorway and all those things. Those are the considerations that are important in games. Especially if you're indie, and especially if you're making your own assets. So Overclocked Abacus, I'm really happy to hear that you're making your own assets, because I prefer to see something done by somebody by hand, because it's unique and it's going to fit. Like even another game developer I really admire is Disaster Squad, who is making Cursed, and you can find Cursed 1, 2, and 3 on Steam. I totally encourage you to play them. I'm pretty sure they're free. I don't want to say in case, but I'm pretty sure that they're free, all three of them. And you can see the progression that he's made from the first one to the third one. It's absolutely incredible. And that's the stuff I love to see. I suppose if there are any game devs here that are watching, or people who want to make their own games, just go for it. Don't let yourself stop yourself. And you're going to learn as you go and get better as you go. I guess I can also leave off with saying that, my game, The Crimson Diamond, is coming out August the 15th on Steam, here on Steam, of course. Also on Itch.io and Fireflower Games. I stream usually on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We've still been streaming, even though the game is pretty much finished. Next week on Tuesday, we might have Dan, the musician, come on. Dan is incredible talent. He is in Sean Paul's band. He's been in Sean Paul's band for I think like 13 years by now or something. It's always cool to have Dan on, and we always get to hear what he's been up to and the places he's been and all kinds of stuff like that. So hopefully that'll happen. I also do like retro Twitch stuff. I let's play old EGA adventure games. I recently started playing Chamber of the Psy Mutant Priestess, which I bought in the Steam Summer Sale, and it's made by Exos and Air Informatique. It's fantastic. It's so bizarre, and I'm loving every second of it. So please, if you're interested in watching more streams with me, I do those on Crimson Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Other ways you can kind of keep track of my game if you're interested. And of course, please wishlist the game on Steam. That's the absolute number one thing. That helps so very, very much. Beyond that, I do have a newsletter that you can sign up for, which I do every month. And also there is on thecrimsondiamond.com. You can find all my links to all my social media and stuff like that. You can find my Twitch. My Twitch handle is _MapleMystery. I have a YouTube channel where I put up all my VODs, all that kind of stuff. So you can find all that at thecrimsondiamond.com. And if you do play the demo, and if you do get stuck, there is an online hint book that's on that website that you can just go to, and it'll help you through. It's kind of like universal hint system setup. So that's going to be there if you get stuck in the demo. I already have a full hint book ready to go for the full game launch as well. I don't want anyone to get stuck in this game or get frustrated. I want people to enjoy it at their own pace, and when they get stuck, you can get to the next step pretty easily. And I want everyone to enjoy the game from the beginning to end. Now, thank you very much. I always get kind of a bit nervous about streaming on Steam because I'm so used to streaming on Twitch. I really love streaming on Twitch. But this went off pretty well. I'm pretty pleased. I'm going to put this after, maybe later tonight, I will put this stream up on rebroadcast. I might have to set up an event for that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to put this up on rebroadcast. So if you're just coming in now, it'll be cycling rebroadcast for the rest of the event, I think, most likely. Unless I need the bandwidth for something else. Next week on Tuesday, I might have to turn it off because I can't spare the bandwidth. I can't stream and rebroadcast at the same time. But I will be putting the rebroadcast up at some point, and I will share that out on social media when I get that all prepped. So, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for being here, for watching, if you were watching, and also thank you so much to Brave at Night for hosting PixElated Fest on Steam. It's been really great so far, I gotta say. And I love pixel art. What can I say? I'm so happy to be here. Happy Crimson Wednesday. Just see you around the internet. Please do wishlist the game if you get the chance, if you think this is something you'd like to play. I am going to head off. I still have, apparently, at least, like I said, I've got 4 typos I found playing my own demo just now. So I'm gonna get to work on those. And hopefully you'll like the game when it comes out. And if you do, please do leave a review and all that. You guys all know. Okay. I'm gonna head out for now. We'll see you guys at some point. And have a wonderful rest of your PixElated Festival. Please check out the rest of the games. There's a ton of really amazing stuff. I recommend Locomotive, which is very, very excellent, is also in the festival. There are a number of excellent games to check out. So please do check them out. Enjoy everything Pixel. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, day, night, however it is. And bye. Thank you, Return to Spielberg, Maximus, Overclocked Abacus, Eric Parkin, who was here earlier. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And if you're lurking, also thank you so much for just lurking as well. Have a good night. Okay, bye.